Hey guys, welcome back to the Tipsy Ghost. We are your tipsy hosts, Sarah, and Lindsay.
Hey guys.
Hey. Hi.
So we took a field trip to Dallas, Texas.
We did.
A couple weekends ago.
Yes,
we were going to do some haunted investigations there, but kind of fell through last minute.
There was a big plot twist in our world.
Plot twist.
2 days before. We had already taken off work. We were planning it, and I get a call. Lindsay, we got an email.
Excuse me, that's not how I talk.
I was half asleep during the conversation, so...
So that's why you sounded deep-voiced, because she was asleep.
It was how I picture you in my sleep.
So we were going down to Dallas specifically to go to this a location. We don't need to talk about it.
That we booked months ago.
Yeah. It's fine. And Sarah gets this email 2 days before we were going to leave.
Yes.
And they're like, actually, it's canceled.
Right. And
we were not happy.
Yeah. Not to sound bitter or anything, but I mean, like...
But I was kind of pissed.
It sounds like that location has been closed for a while, so it would have been nice to have a heads up. Just saying.
More than 2 days.
Yeah, and I even actually replied saying, we're coming down there for this. Is there any other options that you have? And I got crickets.
So luckily, Dallas does have kind of a rich history with hauntings, and we were able to kind of piecemeal things together.
True. So we had like a last minute thrown together haunted investigations of Dallas. So this episode is our Dallas episode, but we each have a different story because we went to 3 places in one night.
We actually did.
We just road tripped all around Dallas.
It was very cool.
I was driving Miss Daisy, aka the two of you in the back seat.
True. I was about to be offended, but that is true.
It's very true, yes. So we're going to talk about 3 different locations all around the Dallas area and our haunted investigations there.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll start off with a quick trip to Arlington, Texas, to visit the Lost Cemetary of Infants. So a little history on this. The late 1800s were not kind to single mothers, runaway girls, addicts, widows, you name it. Even churches and other generally charitable institutions turn their backs on women facing hard times. And then comes Reverend James Upchurch. So in 1894, he created the Baracha Industrial Home for the redemption and protection of erring girls.
This is a very long name.
So I went ahead and made the acronym for you.
I was getting ready to ask for an acronym. You know me so well.
It's BURPEG.
BURPEG.
I don't approve of that one.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
It's BURPEG. Are you going to rename the thing? You can't rename the thing. That's the thing.
BURPEG.
Whoa. Was that Indian? I'm not quite sure what that accent was.
That's offensive. That was Russia.
No, I meant like from India.
No, it's from Russia.
Sarah doesn't even know where it's from.
I don't know, but both of you.
No, like
I think it's right.
I got like.
What were you thinking?
I got strong like babushka vibes. Like you're burping a baby, but you said BURPEG.
I heard the rolling of the R's and it confused me. What were you going for? What was in your mind?
It's my own language. I don't know.
All right, BURPEG.
BURPEG.
I'll never unhear that in my own voice.
Your accents
edit me out.
Have been on point lately. No, we're not editing that. That was perfect. I loved it.
I sound like a cricket.
Nope, no. That was not a cricket.
No.
Maybe a bat, because there's a fucking 1,000 of them there.
Oh, gosh.
A Russian bat? Well, we're going to get there.
A Russian bat. It was an Indian bat.
It wasn't, though.
A Russian Indian bat. Okay.
So, BURPEG. The idea was that these women could be taught a trade and then reintegrated as independent members of society.
Okay.
They were taught employable skills such as a laundress, making handkerchiefs, which I cannot say without, it's really hard for me to not say like handkerchiefs.
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 By both of you.
It's not
handkerchiefs.
Chiefs. This is not the Kansas City handkerchiefs.
But it's spelled like the Chiefs.
Handkerchiefs.
Handkerchief.
What?
Anyway.
How do you say it, Sarah?
Handkerchiefs.
Thank you. Handkerchiefs.
Handkerchief.
Why are you making this word so much harder than it needs to be?
I'm just saying it phonetically.
Handkerchiefs. Is that what you said?
This is not a Kansas City handkerchiefs.
This is going well.
You know, that's a great idea. We should email them.
Hey, Chiefs.
We came up with an idea.
CC Patrick Mahomes on there.
It's my boy Pat.
I know he's got a lot going on with Whataburger right now, but...
And his kid, maybe?
Oh, yeah, that too.
Baby.
I was thinking Whataburger.
Yo, my homie. I've got a new name.
Homie.
Anyway, so the handkerchiefs, typesetting, and printing.
Okay.
In return, each woman had to ensure she completed her chores and attended church on Sunday. But also, each unwed mother was required to care for her newborn for 1 full year before being allowed to give the child up for adoption. The home was developed into an institute and was spread over about 40 acres, eventually becoming a self-sustaining village. It was turned into an orphanage in 1935 when the Reverend's daughter took over. He died in 1950 and things kind of took a turn. By the late 1960s, all of the buildings were torn down and the land was sold.
Oh my gosh! Who was that?
That was me.
Are you okay?
I felt a little burp in there, but I didn't think it would just sneak out.
Your inner demon, but your inner demon was like meowing at me. It's like, meow.
I don't think that's what it sounded like.
That's what I heard in my ears.
So in the 1960s, all the buildings were torn down and the land was sold. The only thing left today is the Lost Cemetary of Infants. So it's a graveyard of about 80 sites, and it sits on the corner of Doug Russell Park, specifically in the northwest corner. If you're interested, I used my compass.
On your phone.
It's true.
Don't act like you have a compass at all times.
I am an explorer.
Dora, the explorer, if you will.
I'm like, I think it's over there by the fence. And she's like, let me get my compass.
Here's why. It's because it's not labeled.
No.
There
It's
is nothing out there. And it says it's got a fence around it. And it does, but it's kind of hard to see from far away.
At night, yeah. Or we arrived at dusk.
As instructed. And we arrived to the park and we were like, we're at the park. Where's the northeast? Right?
Northwest.
Northwest corner.
So that's where the compass came into play.
But we didn't get lost because I have my compass. So
Thank you, Dora.
You're such an explorer.
Can I be Boots?
Yes.
I want to be the map.
You can be backpack.
Backpack.
I get my own song, bitches. Backpack.
I get my own song. Dora,
Okay,
Dora,
touche.
the
I
explorer.
don't.
Oh, she's
No,
Boots.
I'm Boots. Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah, I
no
know.
song.
Yeah.
You know what?
I'm
You're
just
a cute
there.
little monkey.
That sounds about right.
I'm a backpack. I'm an inanimate object that is on people's backs.
I'm still an explorer, so there isn't any indication of foul play. We can just assume that a home for unwed mothers would have stillbirths or other complications, and that's the reason for the season. So most of...
Oh my god.
What? Is that offensive?
That's what people say about Christmas and Jesus, and you're talking about babies dying.
May they rest in peace.
The reason for the season, dear Lord.
I had no idea that was offensive. I apologize.
I feel like I need to go pray.
It just was.
Because we're talking about a cemetery?
I think what you like, you're talking about how like
funny.
miscarriage and stillbirths were high during that time because modern medicine was not as much a thing. Is that what you're meaning?
I mean, I think you just said what I said, but yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
No, I'm
It's the reason
rephrasing.
for the season, Lindsay.
Gosh dang. Continue.
So most of the grave markers are flat stones.
Mm-hmm.
Many are only marked with a first name, and this was done in an effort to protect the mother's anonymity.
What?
Her anonymousness.
Anonymity. They're trying to be anonymous.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So some only have a number, and these are for babies too young to have been named.
Oh, that's sad.
So as far as the hauntings, people report shadowy figures seen darting between the trees.
The wheezing is strong too.
Did you take your medicine?
Yes. It's
Okay.
just when I laugh hard.
Mhm.
Okay.
You're
Sorry.
welcome.
Thank you.
Did you
Dirt.
say thank you?
Thank you. Proceed.
darting between the trees,
Yes.
the sensation of being watched, the sounds of children's voices, and small toys appearing and disappearing on the graves. Some report feeling their hair being stroked by small invisible hands. Let's talk about when we went to the Lost Cemetery of Infants, and then I've got just a little bit more.
So we got there at dusk, which was Sarah's favorite time of the night because
absolutely not.
there was 2 bats.
Definitely more than 2 bats.
So let's set the stage. So here we are. I use my compass. I'm the explorer. We find the cemetery, thankfully, because I had my compass.
Thank you, Dora. And it's August. It's humid. It's hot. In
It
Dallas.
sure is. And so we're in there. We're kind of just taking the whole thing in. Lindsay's doing her own thing. I think you were on Alive.
I was trying to be on Alive, yes.
And then I see things in the sky that I think, oh, are those birds? And I get a little closer look, and I was like, oh, those are bats. And I contemplated. I was like, I shouldn't tell Sarah.
You shouldn't have.
But then what did I do? I said, oh, look, bats.
And what did Sarah do?
She dropped to the ground.
Did she go because they were diving?
They were! Thank you! That's what I'm saying. They were literally fucking dive bombing me.
You tell her there's
Yes,
bats.
just you
Does she
personally.
go to you?
It was me
no,
personally.
she comes over to me, claws my arm, and is trying to hide behind me as they're diving. She's like,
You're taller.
Look at you, bats, they're diving, they're coming for me. I'm like, stop!
You were closest. I'm sorry. I panicked. You know how this happens. I am genuinely freaked the fuck out from bats.
Belvoir just ruined you
It
with bats.
literally did. You know what? Here is me being completely ignorant, but my whole life I thought they were birds in the sky at dusk. Genuinely thought they were, and I would have gone happily through my entire life
Why didn't you tell her they were birds?
thinking I would have been fine. Even if
those
they were
birds?
dive bombing me, I would have been like, it's a fucking bird. They don't care. But it's a fucking bat, and they do care.
The
They
bats
do care.
So we had to wait until it got dark and it was no longer dusk for Sarah to calm down.
But just to remind you, they like circled us and dive bombed quite a bit. You know it. Oh, come on.
Okay. I mean, maybe like once
They
or
did
twice I
dive,
was like,
yes.
ooh. But
They were never
was
close
fine.
to us. I don't feel like they were ever close to us. They did dive.
The cemetery was not that big.
it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It's not like it was this enormous field, like, and they were miles away. No, they were
it
like
wasn't.
feet away from me. Okay.
So that was the beginning of our night.
Mm-mm.
So there are, like you said, a lot of unmarked graves, but there was plenty that just had the name on it, like no birthday, no death date, nothing. And then there were some that were unnamed. And Boydston, you did a great service to them and went around and named every baby.
That was very sweet of you.
Sarah was not so good at
I
naming.
can't be-
Listen, I thought I was amazing at naming.
Oh, no.
Oh my God. You know what? I thought I was being kind.
There was a set of twins, which broke my heart. I can't even handle that.
Right. That's
And so
horrific.
Boydston's first name was May,
Oh God.
and said, and Sarah thought June was a good name for her twin.
I thought it was clever.
May and June.
I hate you. I actually thought it was a good name.
I guess it's a good thing that I'm the one who had twins and not you.
Right? So if I actually had twins, they'd be named like B,
September and October.
B and C. And I'd be like, I tried.
So we did go to separate corners near the end to kind of do our own investigating. It's going to be hard to hear, I'm sure, on all of the recordings just because the bugs are so loud.
It's cicada season.
It's, yeah, very loud. I did hear at one point, do you guys remember hearing like a screech or something? Like
It
some
was
animal?
Right when we
Pretty close
first
to when
got
we
there.
got
Right
there.
when we got there, yeah. There was a screech or something off in the woods.
It may have been a horse.
Could have been a
I
horse.
mean, it's outside. It's hard to tell.
There was a dog that was running around as well.
He didn't have a parent, and I
There was a dog running
was
around.
concerned. But
There weren't really people. Like, there
found
was a couple people walking around, but not where we heard
Oh,
the
God.
screech. There was a little toy on one tombstone. I remember that. But I do remember there being, like, at least 3 big tombstones, but I don't remember who they were.
Well, the first one was like an entry. I did take a picture of that one. It just kind of gave like a brief history.
No sensations of being touched.
No, but again, I was freaked out because of bats, so it was hard
Yeah.
for me to focus. I did go off onto one of the little headstones for a site that's known to have some poltergeist activity, I guess, with little toys that move around.
Mhm.
I sat there for a little while and I did not have poltergeist activity. I tried to use an app and I did record it, but again, it's hard to hear anything
Yeah.
Mhm.
from there. So, and we didn't spend a ton of time because we
We really did.
had to travel on to our next place.
Yeah.
Before we go there
Yeah.
were a couple of other places that I wanted to go or were an option to go to
Okay.
while we were in Arlington. So there's a place called River Legacy Park, and this park is home to places such as the Screaming Bridge and Hell's Gate.
Yes.
And-
we tried to find this place and couldn't.
So the Screaming
True.
Bridge is something I'm actually going to defer for now because it's going to make a great story on its own, so stay tuned.
Okay.
But Hell's Gate allegedly is 2 old fence posts which used to have a gate, and it's in deep in the park off of a trail. It said that this is the last thing that captured soldiers saw before being hanged during the Civil War, and some reports include hearing sobs of the soldiers as you approach the gate. Others say you see a red-headed man in uniform standing guard, and some feel uneasy or as if somebody is watching them. And then many report hearing weird sounds and voices. And all of that would be great, but it's next to impossible to find. I didn't try. The hardest we tried was Sarah saw a Reddit article that basically said even the locals don't even know where it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw a YouTube video that was, it looked like you could get there, but it was a video of this guy going on the trail.
It seems sketchy.
And it's like turn left at this fork and veer right at the weird tree type of a thing. And so I just didn't think we had it in us, and it was getting dark and I didn't want to get murdered.
Yeah.
So
it seemed pretty sketchy, and
maybe next time.
we would have gotten lost in the dark.
100%.
Yeah.
But we did go on other adventures.
Hello, friends and enemies. We want to introduce you to our podcast, Marmalade Mysteries. We are 4 best friends brought together by true crime, but separated geographically.
Because apparently we have to be independent people or something?
Is this just another true crime podcast?
Kind of.
We discuss murders and mysteries that confuse and baffle, and cover missing people to help rally community awareness.
But the most important part of our podcast is our friendship.
Aww.
We have Ariel, our foodie who lives in London, Georgia, our bon vivant in New Orleans, Lisa, our nurse who is saving the world in Texas, and Olivia, our anime lover in Hong Kong.
Despite living across the world from each other, we make it work.
With late nights, early mornings, and lots of coffee. Time zones are our biggest enemy.
We're just having fun with it, and we want you to come along this adventure with us.
Get ready to bring your theories about the most talked about murders and mysteries of our time.
Like what you hear? Love true crime?
Subscribe to Marmalade Mysteries and look out for new episodes each Monday. Stay mysterious, and we'll see you on the other side.
All right. So we went to White Rock Lake in Dallas, Texas, which is where we were.
Which is where we were. We went there because we were there.
Specifically, though, we were looking for the Lady of the Lake at White Rock Lake. White Rock Lake. That is a
Say that,
mouthful.
yeah, 5 times fast.
Holy smokes.
White Rock Lake, White Rock Lake, White Rock Lake.
I was like,
No.
you got it.
You did so
You almost
good.
did it.
I was so proud of you.
Aw.
So we went to the White Rock Lake.
White Rock Lake.
Week.
Week.
And we went to find the Lady of the Lake there. So the Lady of the Lake is one of the best known Dallas legends, and it all started in 1943, where that was like the first recorded episode of it, when a woman named Anne Clark wrote the account of the Lady in the Lake titled The Ghost of White Rock. So clever. In this version of the story, a young couple was parked on the shore of the White Rock Lake.
Nailed it.
Oh my God. It's a mouthful. When they turned on their headlights, though, they saw a woman in white coming towards them. It was a young girl dressed in a sheer, wet, white dress. She said to the couple, "I'm sorry to intrude, and I would not under any other circumstances, but I must find my way home immediately."
Sounds like somebody I know.
Who does that sound like?
You.
Oh my God. I say I must often.
She always says I must. Or you must.
Very insistent.
We must.
It's my favorite word.
It's true.
All right, so she says, my boat overturned. The others are safe, but I must get home.
Oh,
She must.
She must.
she
She must get home. She climbed into the car and gave them an address in Oak Cliff. Do you know where that is?
It's a neighborhood. Yeah.
In Dallas?
Mhm.
Okay. That was a good guess.
Yeah, it's in Dallas.
When they turned around to ask her for directions, though, there was no one there.
Dun dun dun.
The couple ended up going to the address that she gave them, and when they showed up, a sad man answered the door and said,
"Aw, sad man."
Makes
How
me
does one
sad.
answer the door sadly?
I know,
No,
he
he's
thought
just
that
sad.
too. He was like, womp womp.
Sorry, I was just crying over
You can
there.
just tell
Eeyore.
his face is weathered. He's older.
Aw.
Yeah,
He's
very
got
sad.
smile lines because he used to be happy, but now he's just
What?
very upset. I can see him. He's graying.
You are really into this. Okay, he's gray.
That's
Like
what
his
he looks
face
like.
or his hair?
No, his hair. His
face.
hair is
Oh,
gray.
I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
his face is gray.
No,
okay, that is hair.
his face is tan
Go
from
with
a
her.
lifelong
A life out in the sun.
a life out in the sun.
Okay, at
Yes.
White Rock Lake.
Yes.
Yes.
He fishes and also farms.
He farms.
Because he's sad?
He has a dog named Chip. It's a black lab.
He's sad. He's clearly very sad. He answered the door.
You went there. Wow. Okay.
Thank you for the details. I appreciate
Here's
it.
my bow. I am done.
I can't wait to see
Please
Chip.
don't be done. I'm going to need you to chime in very soon. Well, he answered the door and said, "This is a very strange thing. You are the third couple who has come to me with this story. 3 weeks ago, while sailing at White Rock Lake, my daughter drowned."
Oh, I was thinking husband, but daddy.
What?
No, he was starting to get old, and so she had to move
Yeah,
in with
the gray
him.
hair.
Gray hair.
Okay.
Well, the gray hair was Boydson's point of view.
Older
so-
lab named Chip. Come on.
What does the dog
Get it
have to
together.
do with how old someone is?
Because
I
they're
don't
kind
know.
of sad together.
They would have had a puppy if it was a brand new couple.
Boydson
Come on.
has old dogs, and she's not old.
Oh, true. Okay.
Cute.
Welcome.
So sweet.
Okay, continue. Chip. Where's Chip?
I don't know where Chip is, but in 1953,
He finished a hearty dinner, and he's laying in front of the fire
10 years later.
on his favorite rug.
Good old boy, Chip.
A bearskin
Good
rug.
old boy. Bearskin rug in Dallas.
Sprawled out
In front of the fire.
in front of the fire, and he is sobbing.
Amidst the
He
90-degree
very
weather.
sad.
There's a Texas star on the wall.
And he
Yes,
has
there
a
probably
horse barn
is.
on the
It's
back.
It's glowing in the firelight.
The horse barn, and it has a horse named Sound.
Sound is back.
Oh, here we are
Oh
again.
my gosh, I missed him. Where's
And
Bullet?
Sound is his show horse.
Yes. And sometimes Chip
Rides
likes
on top
to.
of-
No, he's too big for that.
Oh,
And he's too old. If he fell, he would get really hurt. But he drags his harness in his mouth and leads Sound around the pen.
You're so imaginative.
I've really thought about this.
Here's Sound.
Oh, there's how you call sound. I missed it. What was that?
That was me tapping Sound.
Okay.
Because she's also blind and deaf. Okay?
All right. Continue.
All right. In 1953, the story continued to grow. It was a very similar story, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But this time, it was much more detailed. And I'm not going to lie, the detailed version does make me laugh.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
it
the
happier?
undetailed version was making us laugh too. So.
And you're welcome.
Let's be real. Chip.
True
It's
that.
going to be hard to beat.
All right. So the story was featured in Frank X. Tolbert's book
Okay.
called Neiman Marcus, Texas. The story of the Proud Dallas store.
Yes. Neiman Marcus. I am familiar with it.
The Proud Dallas store?
So I guess for anybody who doesn't know, Neiman Marcus,
It's like upper class, like a Macy's or.
no, was it like created in Dallas?
So
So
I don't know
it
if
sounds
it
like
was
it.
created in Dallas, but I know the headquarters is down there. I don't know.
It is
created.
a Proud Dallas store, so I assume it was.
Do you want me to Google? I can Google.
No,
Okay.
that's fine.
Nope.
Don't
No,
care.
no,
Don't
no.
care. Already
Can't
lost
afford it.
interest.
Can't afford it. Don't care.
Can't afford it.
Isn't that like an expensive store?
I'm poor.
Oh yeah, it is an expensive
poor
store.
hell,
I
yeah.
mean, expensive for me.
What? Okay. In this version, though, it was a beautiful blonde girl, and she appeared on the road near White Rock Lake. So Mr. and Mrs. Guy Malloy. Oh my God.
Are you going to say Mr. and Mrs. Neiman Marcus?
Well, I got a a lot of tongue twisters. These are hard words for me. Mr.
Yes.
and Mrs. Guy Malloy, they were the directors of display for Neiman Marcus. They spotted this girl standing as if she had just walked up from the beach. Mrs. Malloy said, "Stop, Guy. That girl seems in trouble. She must have fallen in the lake.
Aww.
Her dress is wet. You can tell it's a very fine dress. She certainly got it from Neiman Marcus."
She certainly did.
What? Does anybody else feel like
Definitely.
this was just a plug for their store?
100%.
I 100% yes, think that.
That makes me very sad. So the girl was described as very friendly and asked them to take her to an address on Gaston Avenue in Lakewood. Although, do they call it Gaston or Gaston?
That I don't know.
I feel like I
Gaston.
say it Gaston because of Beauty and the Beast.
Mhm.
Absolutely. She didn't explain why she looked disheveled. And of course, they were too polite to ask. So the girl got in the back seat of the car. Once they started the car, however, they turned around to see that the back seat was empty. The girl
She was a ghost.
had vanished.
What?
Oh,
The
man.
only trace of her was a damp spot on the back seat.
Because she peed?
I think she peed and left. She's like,
She peed and ditched.
I really have to pee, and I'm embarrassed because I peed, so I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Me as a ghost.
Like you held it so long,
'Cause
and
the
you're
whole
like, please,
time-
can I have a ride home? And then you get in, and you're like, fuck.
The whole
I
time we
peed.
were circling the lake, I had to pee the entire time.
I think all of us did. The Malloys went to the address that the girl had provided, and a middle-aged man met them at the door. So he wasn't
Oh.
described as sad, but he was middle-aged.
Okay.
And he
It's her
informed he informed them that the blonde daughter,
daughter.
who wore nothing but Neiman Marcus clothing.
Sure that, yes.
Yes, yes. That's the important part of this story, guys. Neiman.
Over and
Marcus.
over. I'm like, come on now, really? She drowned 2 years before when she fell off a pier at White Rock Lake.
So not sailing.
Man.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different than the
Yeah.
other ones, but they really drove home the Neiman Marcus thing, and I feel like that was on purpose. Just saying.
So we went to that lake
We did. At dark.
in search of a wop.
Oh my gosh.
In search of the lock?
A
Wop.
wop.
Oh, yes.
So I drove us
A wet ass
around
person.
while these two fools sat in the back and blared WAP through the car.
Actually, no. Sarah's still in front at this time.
No, she was. Were you?
Yes.
I was in
She
front.
was in front because
Okay.
I was looking for a wop next to me.
Oh, that's right. We left the middle seat next to you open for,
There is no middle seat.
well, yes, the back seat. So we heard reports from locals in Dallas that roll down the windows, call out for her, invite her into your car, and then your seat will get wet. Essentially. So we had the windows down. We were driving around. Even though it was dark, this park is open till 11, so there were still a lot of people there.
There are people meeting up. I
Hanging out.
think
fishing.
that things were like fishing for stuff.
Oh,
Yeah. So we didn't
interesting.
really get out of the car except for at one point we got out. Me and Boydston did. Did you get out with me or was it just me?
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't
took
want
some
somebody to take.
pictures.
I felt weird, like leaving the van
Yeah.
on with all of our stuff.
We were gonna go on a
Anyways.
dock. I kept
But
telling
somebody was
Lindsay
up there.
Someone
I
was on
kept
the
telling
dock.
Lindsay to go, but there was somebody on there, and I didn't see them.
Yeah, and it was like I said, late at night, and so I didn't want to. So we drove around. You guys blared WAP because you know
It's a wet ass person.
how much I hate that song. And we kept
Listen,
yelling for the lady
it
to
made
get in the
sense.
car. And to the point
WAP.
that I felt creepy. I was like, lady in white, get in the car!
You kept saying, "Are you wet, lady?"
I did? I don't remember.
If there's a wet lady,
get in the car!
if there's
Get
a
in
lady
my
and you're
van!
wet and you're wearing white,
Get in my van!
If you're wet,
get
get
in my
in.
van.
You made your own like really white version of that Cardi song.
I
Yep.
did. We drove around the lake
That's why
2
I
or
was
3
laughing.
times.
We really tried hard for the WAP.
There
but
was some really beautiful houses around there.
holy smokes, there was a
Let's talk about the house.
George
that you saw.
Washington.
Yes.
Yeah, Mount Vernon house.
You called it.
I sure did.
Really rich houses there, like $1 million homes. So we didn't get any evidence at the lake.
Listen, I'm a big history geek, and we drove by, and I was like, "It's the White House." And
you Googled it. And you
they
were
called
right.
it Mount Vernon
Yes.
down there. It was kind of funny. And anyhow.
So the lady in white did not get in my van, no matter how much I yelled at her to get in the van.
I mean, we were having a good time, and she was not interested, so
She was not.
whatever.
We did hear reports from a local about they went down there and they saw a man in old-fashioned clothing riding a bicycle. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah, but he was like, that was a weird story.
It was. So she told
He
us
was like
that
a clown
story.
of sorts.
Yeah.
And she said that she was she was instructed to drive the car under a bridge with the windows up because
They'll
there
throw
would be
garbage at you or something.
Yeah,
Rotten
rocks.
food.
rotten fruit or
rocks.
rotten food.
Rocks,
you'll smell
and
it.
then you'll smell rotten fruit.
So
Oh
we
my
drove
gosh,
with our
it's so
windows down the
descriptive.
entire time, even underneath that bridge, because I was like, bring it on. Like, give me the evidence.
You're
I
like,
want to
what?
smell
Rocks? Sure, bring it on.
Throw rocks at my face.
Throw
It's fine.
rocks. Prove it.
But we didn't get anything there. I will say I've been to White Rock Lake in the daytime. Fun fact, my parents live in Dallas, so that's why we went to Dallas also.
Yes, true.
So I've been there in the daytime, and it's, a beautiful lake.
It is beautiful.
You don't get like
At
a creepy
nighttime, too.
feeling either.
No, honestly, it wasn't creepy at night either. It was pretty pleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just didn't get anything there, but it was fun to drive around and yell
Check
for
it out.
women to get in my van.
Wet woman.
Very creepily.
Wet women. Listen.
If you're wet and wearing white,
This
get
is,
in the van.
This is where my hardcore came out. This is where I was a total Zach.
I'm curious, like,
It
if
was
people
amazing.
heard us or heard
I
you.
know.
Oh my gosh, I was so loud.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Get in the van! Lady
if
in
you're a
white.
wet white lady.
I was like, I got a seat for you back here. I was a total creep. I'm sure people like, what
Yes,
is
you
happening?
were. And it was amazing as we blared WAP.
The last place we went was my favorite place. Goatman's Bridge.
It's probably my favorite place too. Spoiler alert.
I feel like we've heard about this before.
We have. So
Yeah.
this is a pretty famous place, like not just for local people in Dallas, like across America.
Well, definitely in paranormal
Yes,
area.
in the paranormal world. So Zach has been here.
Yeah. Sure.
Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed have
Yes.
been here.
Yeah.
Lots of paranormal investigations happen at Goatman's Bridge.
We went there.
We've
The
been
Tipsy
there.
Ghost went there.
The
We're
Tipsy
notable
Ghost.
people.
Yes. All right. So this is called Goatman's Bridge. It's also called Old Alton Bridge, and it's in Denton, Texas, which is about 30 minutes north of Dallas. So we went here last. So it's a historic iron bridge that was built in 1884 by the King Iron Bridge Manufacturing Company. So 1884, it was carrying horses and then eventually automobiles over Hickory Creek and was popular at its time of being built for cattle crossing. The name for the bridge comes from the now abandoned community of Alton, which was the seat of Denton County between 1850 to 1856. So this bridge was used up until 2001, and in 2001 they built a bridge kind of adjacent to the old Alton Bridge, which is made of concrete and steel, and that's what people use nowadays. So the Goatman's Bridge, the old Alton Bridge, it was a single lane, so cars would have to honk before crossing to signal other cars not to come on the bridge at the same time. Yeah, like, hey, excuse me, I'm going now.
I bet
You go
their
after
horn
me.
sounded different.
Well, like, it was used until 2001. I'm thinking.
Want to hear your voice? You were trying.
Yes.
Let's hear
No,
it.
didn't Lindsay have a...
Yes, you make fun of my car's horn.
Beep. Meep, meep.
Beep, beep.
It's the old Kia horn.
It's a minivan. It's a cool minivan.
Meep, meep. Coming through.
So, but I was thinking, like, 2001, can you imagine the amount of traffic? Just, like, even at 12:30 at night when we were there, the cars that were going by still.
Right.
That would be a lot of traffic backup if only one car could go at a time. Okay.
Right, but there was, how much, it makes you wonder how much traffic was actually going through
That's
at that
true.
time.
Maybe people went around it.
Right.
So, obviously, they use the new bridge now because it has additional lanes and it helps with traffic. That's why it was built. So with vehicle traffic gone, on this bridge, it connects Elm Fork and Pilot Knoll hiking trails, so people primarily use it for hiking, and it is a popular place for photographers, and it is included in the National Register of Historic Places on July 8th, 1988. Okay. So more fun, the bridge is known as Goatman's Bridge. So it is said to be haunted by a half-man, half-goat figure called Goatman.
Oh,
You guys remember
Tell
when I
me
talked
why.
about Goatman?
yep.
I do. Is this when we talked about Pan?
This is when we talked about Pan and
Peter?
Couch. and Peter.
That was one of my favorite episodes.
Goatman. All right. We love Goatman.
Peter the Pan.
All right.
First name Peter.
Do you guys know Pan?
Peter?
All right. So, Goatman, there's
Wow.
2 legends surrounding him.
There's
So-
a lot of things that just happened there.
I know.
Okay, right, go ahead.
Goatman, we're back.
Here we are.
All right, 2 legends. So the first one is about a man named Oscar Washburn. He was a black goat farmer who lived just north of the bridge. Around the 1930s is when this legend happens. There's no records of him, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
He tended a farmstead and a goat herd, which is why he was called the Goatman. He was known for selling meat, milk, and cheeses, and was called Goatman by the locals, and was a very popular and well-known person and successful businessman. He even had hung a sign on the bridge saying, "This way to the Goatman." But the KKK did not like this, and this is Texas. This is the 1930s. Racism is really bad there, so the KKK, who were also in local government, they said, crossed the bridge and kidnapped him. They hung a noose on Old Alton Bridge and threw him over the side, hanging him. When they looked down to see if he had died, the noose was empty and his body was gone.
What a bunch of dicks.
Yeah. The KKK is a bunch of dicks, yes.
They're the absolute fucking worst.
Yes, they are the absolute worst.
Cool. Now that we've
So
established that.
they panicked because his body was gone. They thought he survived, so they went to his house and lit his house on fire, which killed his wife and children.
God damn it.
Terrible people.
God.
So Washburn was never seen again, but it is said that he now haunts that bridge.
Oh, why wouldn't you? I mean, that's
Right. I would too. So
terrible.
it said that he haunts the bridge. I will say there was another story that said that his wife is internally searching for her children on that bridge,
Of course.
which is just terrible as well.
Yeah.
So the second legend is about a Creole slave goat herder named Jack Kendall. So some Copper Canyon cowboys.
Canyon Cowboys.
So they lynched Jack Kendall from a tree where the bridge now stands, and this was about the 1860s. So the bridge, again, was built in 1884. So about 20 years before the bridge was built, Jack was decapitated, and witnesses say that his body raised itself from the creek bed, animated by voodoo, and ripped off the head of a goat that was nearby to replace his own that was still hanging in the noose.
That would
That's
be-
Goatman.
That would be terrifying.
I hate that.
Yeah, I hate that. So neither Oscar Washburn or Jack Kendall are found in any historical records, so who knows what really happened. But supposedly the Goatman only attacks those with bloodlines of Klansmen or slave owners. So people report ghostly figures, such as seeing the apparition of a Goatman. They report strange lights, being touched, grabbed, and having rocks thrown at them. Also, if you drive on it without your headlights on, you will be met on the other side by the Goatman. But, I mean, we couldn't really drive a car on that.
I would never drive a car.
I
drive a car on that.
Don't feel like it would be safe because it's wooden and there's just planks on top of planks that have
It's
been
very
replaced.
narrow, too.
It's very narrow. Even though
Open on both sides.
the gravel road to get to it is narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not.
When the planks don't touch, you can see straight through to
Yeah.
the water below.
We did not
sketchy
do
as fuck
this.
is what we're trying to say.
we did not drive over it.
No, we sat on it, but
We did, yeah. If you knock 3 times at midnight, then you will hear knocks back.
Okay.
People report smelling decaying flesh on the bridge, as well as seeing unholy glowing eyes that burn red, or seeing, like I said, apparitions of Goatman, like that of Greek mythology Pan.
Do you know Pan?
I
Peter?
do know Pan.
First name Peter?
I do.
Got it.
All right. So some say that this is the work of Satanists who opened a portal on the bridge. Others say that, like I said, that Goatman or his wife are searching for their families. But who really knows what happened? That is the legend of Goatman's Bridge. And so now it is pretty much just covered in graffiti.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hangout spot, apparently, because when we
Yeah.
got there, teens were hanging out.
Yeah, so let's talk about our experience there.
Yes. So we got there. We actually drove by it like twice.
Yeah.
I
That was
hope
hard to miss.
You can kind of miss it easily,
Mhm.
honestly.
We took the new bridge that was built, and I was like, where is
Yeah,
it?
it just guides you right past it. Then we're like, wait.
It really does.
GPS tells us it's way back there.
Yeah. So it is, I think, even after we've seen it, talked about it, seen it on Zach and with Shane and Ryan and all of them, it is not as secluded as you think. Like the
No,
road and the bridge
100%
are
not.
right there.
Yeah, you can obviously tell that they had things blocked off for their shows,
recording,
and
yeah.
that's
it's
fine.
just constant traffic.
Yes.
Even we were there from 12:30 to 1 a.m.
Yeah.
almost? Or we got there like right after midnight.
No,
We got
were
there
for a
like
while.
11
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
'cause it wasn't even midnight when we got there.
So we were there
I feel
over
like
an
we were there, yeah.
hour. We left at like 1 a.m., 1:30, and it was still traffic, cars going
Yeah.
by. You hear them, you see the headlights. Not as secluded.
But not only that, there's like a tiny little parking area that you can
Yeah.
walk down to. So like, I don't want to say like it invites people down there, but I mean it definitely kind of caters to people.
It knows that people are going
For
there
sure.
to investigate.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, I get it. It's a popular spot.
Yeah.
And it was that night. But surprisingly, it was very, very young people. Like, I thought it would be like
Like high schoolers.
I thought it'd be like all investigators like us. And that's just me being like ignorant. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But no, they were like
Just
high
locals.
school kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just out there like having a great time.
Looking for a place to hang out. They talked to us. They saw us sitting down in the middle of the bridge. And they're like, you guys trying to summon something?
Like what I would have done for like a field party, okay, in high school.
Right.
That's what they did at Goatman's Bridge.
Another thing they did, it's probably the scariest moment of my life. One crab walked backwards
Yes, he
towards
did.
us quickly.
He did.
He was like,
Voice
hey
thing, I'm
guys,
scared.
did you see this? And we were like, what? And then it was
It's
like,
very dark out there, yeah.
Yeah. That motherfucker.
I
He got
mean,
us.
I jumped and like half ran. I was like, what was that?
It was horrific.
Good crab walk. I forgot about that.
And,
part.
like
Backwards, like
quickly
Grudge.
backwards.
Like
yes.
the grudge.
It was terrifying.
Lucky
and
for
my-
me, I have like really slow reflexes, so I was like, what? And then I looked up and I saw you scared, and I was like, what just happened? So I didn't see him at all.
Oh, I saw him and I was like, what is he doing?
It just really caught me off guard for some reason.
He was trying to freak us out.
You know, I will say I did get a bad vibe on the bridge.
Yeah.
I kind of went to my place where like I'm kind of scared right now, and so
like after the teens left.
no, I mean even while we were there, it's
Yeah.
just like an uneasy place, and I didn't really expect that with other people there. But yeah, I got this weird feeling. But what did you guys sense?
So when we were there, and I'll talk a little bit about after the teens left because they weren't there that long. And then we had the bridge to ourselves, which was nice. We heard a scream a couple times. So when you're on the bridge, one side is facing like the road and the new bridge, and that's where all the traffic and sound and lights are. The other side is literally just like woods and wooded areas, and you hear the bugs and the cicadas, like you said. But
Did you say cicadas?
cicadas?
Yes.
Cicadas, whatever. I don't like that word. I like cicadas better.
Cicadas? It's like a Kit Kat, but a cicada.
Yes, exactly.
A cicada bar.
Have you always called them cicadas?
I don't know if I've ever said that word out loud. I just see it pronounced, and that's how I pronounce it in my head. When you see a C
I
with
love
another
you so
C.
much.
It's like a TikTok. Tell me a word that others pronounce the right
Listen.
way, and you've always pronounced the wrong way.
I sent you guys a meme of that where people who read a lot cannot pronounce words because we just read it, and I just say it however I think my brain wants to say it, and then I have to
Cicada.
say it out loud. I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce this word. I just read it all the time. It's true.
I'm sorry for calling it. I thought genuinely you like mispronounced it, but
No, I
I
never
realize now you did not.
genuinely mispronounce anything. It's always done accidentally.
It's always genuine.
It's always genuine.
It's genuine.
It's always I don't know what I'm talking about.
genuine.
I'm not that dumb.
Genuine.
Anyways,
A genuine cicada.
I heard the scream twice, and I caught it on. I was on Instagram Live, and I caught it on Instagram Live once.
Okay, here's the thing though,
So-
and I'm not
what it
normally
was.
the like debunker, but here I am. I'm pretty sure there was like a group of people far away from
I think
us.
it was the teens too.
I don't think so.
They
damn it,
left
I
the
hate
bridge,
that.
so they were not on the bridge when we heard it.
I think well, so
They peeled out. They
we
were in
saw like
cars.
multiple people go. We were like sitting on the bridge, and then we saw like a couple, 2 to 4 people go past us, and I think that there were people that went past us like before we even sat down. And I didn't see
So
them
there
come
were,
back.
but then they came. Well, at least half of them. I mean, maybe 4 people went past, but at least half of them came back.
Yeah.
But the screams that we heard, so like, they went past to, let's say, the right side of the bridge, and the screams that we heard were on the left side of the bridge.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not convinced it was
What do you think it was?
human. I think it,
Like an animal?
I think it was
Skinwalker.
Goatman.
You went straight to Goatman. You didn't even try to debunk it with
I
another
said
animal.
Skinwalker. So
Okay, my plan B is it was
Skinwalker.
That's plan C.
Oh, damn it.
You were too far
B.
ahead. You're not even.
No, plan B is like Goatman's kid or wife when
Oh.
they found out that
Oh,
they were
yeah.
going to be murdered.
So nothing logical here.
Residual.
I'm like, yeah, I get that.
It could have been like
So if
residual.
it wasn't Goatman, it was his kids, and then a
Excuse me.
Skinwalker.
I'd like to speak. It could have been residual energy.
Okay.
Excuse me, I like to see it was a Skinwalker.
So Boydson was getting creepy vibes.
Mhm.
What were your vibes?
It was actually pretty creepy. I'm not gonna lie.
It was creepy.
Was it as creepy as some of the places we've been to? Absolutely not. But I
No.
think that's because it was really difficult to like set the vibe,
Right.
if you will, because there was so much like outside traffic. And as we've already mentioned, there was teens, there was things. And we did have the bridge to ourselves for like
A
a good
solid
45 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was pretty good. And we actually got some good responses on
Yeah, tell me about the spirit box, because I was
Our
off doing
spirit
my own
box.
thing while you guys were doing
yeah,
that.
so actually I kind of forgot that you had mentioned stuff about like the wife and the children.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you're mentioning that, I think it said something in that regard, but dang, I don't remember. I'll have to look back.
It did say my brother's name on there,
Yes, it did say Brandon.
which is my brother's name, so it said that right when I was walking by the spirit box.
Yes, which is kind of interesting because it doesn't typically say names.
No.
And we try to debunk that. Like we jump around and we like try
I
to
knocked
move
several
it.
times
Yes.
and stomped, yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't hear tons of knocking like it says
No.
you're gonna hear. But we definitely got like some pretty good responses on the spirit box, and it was on live too. So I'll have to look back because thankfully it was recorded. But now that you're mentioning the wife and kids, I feel like it was more directed towards that.
I did get a creepy sense on the bridge. Not so much like paranormal, but there has been a lot of reports of KKK still gathering around this bridge. And there's been lots of
Yeah,
reports of like
it's
people
rough.
doing like witchcraft around the bridge and gathering around there. So that's like
There
when
were
we heard,
pentagrams.
yeah, there was a pentagram drawn on the bridge. So when we were hearing the screams, that's where my mind first went, was like, what if there's a group out here that's doing stuff? Like it's 1 a.m. on a Saturday night. So I was
Okay.
thinking, not so much like the KKK, but like, what if there's like a group out here trying to summon something? That's what I got scared and freaked out by. Because I'm like, there's some really messed up people who have done things around this bridge.
Yeah, and we're like out there in the open,
In the middle of the night, yeah.
like,
so that's
hanging
what
out
I
on
got
the bridge
scared
in
of.
the dark at 1 a.m. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
So
It
that
gets a
part
little
freaked
sketchy.
me out, and that kind of got in my head a little bit. But
Right. Did we have the same experiences as some of the shows? Probably not.
no. But they also, like you said, they had to have shut down
Yeah.
traffic around there to
I mean, there's no
film.
way you can get like a legit experience.
You wouldn't even
without
be able
doing
to
that.
hear them because
Yeah.
the cars are just whizzing right past. So
Right.
they had a more secluded, isolated investigation than we've been able to have.
For sure. But it was still a very cool location,
Mhm.
and it was a bucket list location, so I'm
It
glad we
definitely
went.
was. I loved it.
Yeah.
It's just so historic and it's cool. It's covered in graffiti, like we said.
I didn't even know it was going to be covered in graffiti, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. That was kind of surprising for me.
Yeah.
Like, it is covered.
It's covered. And people said that they've done Ouija board sessions over there.
Right.
We did not bring a Ouija board. We did not do a session.
Right. So, I'm going to go off the record here and say this was one of those locations that I went to, and I was kind of glad that we didn't pay the money to have
Same.
a guided.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if that
Session
traffic's not
with-
shut down.
Yeah. So, take that for what you want. You can go
Well,
with a
plus-
guided if you want to. If you're new to this area or this type of deal, go for it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you can just like go out, park, and go out on your own.
Do your own investigation.
I feel like it looks a lot bigger and longer on TV.
Totally.
That is what she said, but I really do.
It is very small in real life.
I mean,
It
yeah, I
is.
walked the length of it several times, just
Yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah, it's really not big.
Yeah, I was
It's
surprised
not.
to see how small it was. And now all I can hear is that's what she said.
And wear your bug spray if you go, because
For sure.
the bugs are biting big time
Well,
down
in
there.
August, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
it's hot.
cicadas.
The cicadas will
I
get
hate
you.
you both. Cicadas. I'm glad we went. I thought it was really cool. It was creepy.
Yeah.
It
Like you
had
said, a bucket list
bucket
item.
list
Yeah,
item.
for sure.
Mhm.
And, if you're new to this, go with a guided session. You'll not regret it.
Yeah.
But if you have done this type of stuff before, then just go park and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and maybe you'll get lucky and you'll get the place to yourself like we did for a little while. Another group was coming in as we were leaving, so it was kind of like perfect timing,
Right.
honestly.
We were there on a Saturday night too, so like that's a fairly busy night.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, we were there for over an hour.
Yeah.
There's a pee spot, apparently, and a poop spot by the bridge. That's what the teens told us.
Yes.
We were informed.
I told them we did not need either spot, but thank you for telling us.
It's a true story.
And, hey, if you go there and there's
I peed
another
in
group
front of our
there,
van.
you did. Maybe do the backward crab walk to freak some people out. It might work.
Please don't.
I totally forgot about that until you brought it up, so I'm glad you did.
Well, it's ingrained in my brain.
I took lots of pictures on Goatman's Bridge. There's a couple maybe orbs.
Mhm.
It's hard to tell, though, also because headlights are coming in, and there was lots of bugs, obviously, out there, so it's hard to tell, but we will post anything that we think might be an orb for you guys.
Definitely.
For sure.
And also we'll post pictures just so you can see what we're talking about when we talk about how big it is and
How thick it is.
It's real girthy.
it's
Yeah.
not girthy. One car at a time, guys.
That's what she said.
So we did the Lost Cemetery of Infants, we did White Rock Lake, and we did Goatman's Bridge all in one night. It was a busy night,
It was.
but it was so much fun, and I'm glad that we got to still go to Dallas and do an impromptu ghost hunting sessions of our own. Put
Yes.
together in 2 days. Good job, guys.
We did it.
Strong work.
All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in to our investigation of Haunted Dallas. You can always catch us at thetipsyghost.com and find our socials from there, or send us an email at thetipsyghost@gmail.com.
Please give us a 5-star rating and a great review anywhere you listen to podcasts. It really does help, and we appreciate it.
Yes, it does. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in this week. We will catch you guys next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.